Have you ever wondered why some research studies feel clear, reliable, and convincing, while others leave you confused? The difference often lies in one crucial section: the research methodology. Good evening, everyone. I am Armina G. Gamalon, and this evening I will be presenting our lesson on research methodology in English language teaching. Before we begin, let me walk you through the learning outcomes of this presentation so we will be guided as we get along with our discussion. So, by the end of this lesson, you should be able to first define what a research methodology is and explain its purpose. Second, you would be able to identify and describe the components of a methodology section. Third, you would be able to select appropriate research designs for ELT studies. And lastly, you would be able to write clear, organized and academic methodology paragraphs. Now, let us begin with our first point. What is a research methodology? So, if you're going to write a research methodology, you need to ask yourself these questions: what did you do? How did you do it? And why did you do it? Meaning, in the methodology chapter is where you detail all of the research design you have made, and you would also need to explain why you made them. In other words, the point of methodology chapter is to tell the reader your marker, exactly how you design your study, and to justify each of your research design choices. For example, in the methodology chapter, you would highlight the type of research you collected. It's either uh, quantitative, qualitative, or mixed methods. You would also need to explain how you collected your data, how did you analyze your data, and who or where you collected the data from. So of these choices, you would also explain you why you chose them and how they all fit together. So now that we have covered the what, the next important to understand is the why. In other words, why is methodology chapter important? Well, the methodology chapter is important for at least four reasons. Firstly, methodology ensures that the study is replicable. So this means that if another researcher, for instance, if another researcher follows exact steps you use and expect to get similar results, this is important because research should not be based on luck or choice or chance. So if a study cannot be repeated, then its findings become questionable. So meaning, and if a certain researcher found your research, and then he would do the steps that you made, and then uh, there's a different findings, so it makes your methodology questionable, or even the whole study questionable. It questions the reliability and the credibility of your research. Next, it is a clear methodology proves that the study, it also shows the research is valid and credible. So in a clear methodology, it proves that the study is valid and credible when your audience, for instance, teachers, students, or other researchers, reads your methodology. They should understand how you collected your data, how you analyze it, and why those steps make sense. Because a strong methodology shows that your results are not biased, vague, or random. So, third, methodology explains the rationale behind your chosen methods. It answers the question, why did I choose this design? Why this participants, or why these instruments, by providing these explanations, the researcher proves that every decision made in the study has a purpose. And lastly, methodology connects your study to an appropriate research tradition in ELT, or in English language teaching. And because in ELT, researchers do not just choose methods randomly. Every study belongs to a certain research tradition or approach that has been used, tested, and recognized by other scholars in the field. So, in simple terms, the methodology shows that your study is not isolated. It is part of a larger community in ELT research. So, the methods you use, the research design you use, it is connected to ELT traditions. Next, now we have here the components of a methodology section. So, now that we understand the meaning and importance of a research methodology, let us move on to the components that make up a methodology section. So, in most ELT research, the methodology is organized into several key parts. So we have the research design, the research setting or the locale of your study, the participants, the instruments, and the materials and procedures. So let's start with the research design. So when you say research design, this describes the overall approach of your study. So it tells the reader whether your research is quantitative, qualitative, or mixed methods. And also, it explains why this design is suitable. So, what you can see in the research design is you would going to tell uh, what type of approach did you use and why did you use that approach. Next, the research setting or the locale of your study. So, this part explains where the study was conducted. So it may include the school if the study was conducted in the school, the classroom if inside the classroom if the study is related to uh, participants, uh, participants, specifically students. So you would also describe in this part also it would also describe the setting so that the reader will understand the context of your research and the environment which the data was collected. Next, the participants. So this section identifies who took part in the study. So it explains the number of participants, their characteristics such as their grade level, proficiency level, or age, or it depends upon on what are you going to measure. So in the participants, it will also in this part you would also explain how the participants were selected. Okay, next we have the materials and procedures. I know we have the instruments. Sorry, uh, when I say instruments, the researcher would need to tell what is the tools being used in the data. So, meaning to say, in the instrument part, this refers to the tools you use to collect your data. So this may include surveys, interview guides, observation checklists, tests, or recording devices. So in this part, you briefly describe each instrument and explain why it is appropriate. Next part, materials and procedures. So this section explains why explains the step-by-step process of how the study was carried out. It tells the reader what materials were used and what procedures were followed from the preparation stage to the collection, and finally to how the data was processed or analyzed. So I have provided here an excerpted part of the research conducted by Omar inside 2023, titled "The Use of English as Medium of Instruction, Exploring the Perceptions of ESL Learners at Mindanao State University." So I have here the whole sample research. So I have here, here is the sample research design. So as you can see, the researcher tells what is the approach being used, which is qualitative research design. And also here in the second paragraph, in the second, almost in the second paragraph, the qualitative method, it also explains why the researchers used qualitative data, why the qualitative data is suitable in this study. Next, the research setting. As you can see, as I've said earlier, it explains where the study was conducted. So it states here that the study was conducted at Mindanao State University in Marawi, Lanao, del Sur. It also describes the setting where the study was conducted. Next, the participants. As you can see, um, uh, this tells who takes part in the study. So who are involved. So we have 30 undergraduate students from second year to fourth year level who were enrolled in Bachelor of Secondary major in English. And also, as you observed, it also includes what type of sampling technique is used to gather the participants, to get the participant. So later on, we will be discussing about this sampling techniques. Next, we have here instruments. So in the instruments, as you can see, this is where you tell what are the tools had been used in the study. So as you can see, stated here, a survey questionnaire was used in the study to collect data, and then the materials, as you can see, procedures. So it explains the step-by-step process of how the study was carried out, and also the materials. The materials used is a printed or electronic questionnaire, and plus one open-ended question. So that's it. Next. No, wait lang. So before we proceed to another topic, so I have here a sample research study conduct where I get the excerpted part of what I have shown earlier. So let's focus here. Where is the methodology chapter? Okay, I'm gonna look for this here. So here is our methodology chapter. As you can see, here is